Hey, and welcome to the Fat Loss Predictor spreadsheet. So I'm pretty proud of this one. It's hopefully going to help you map out your fat loss a little bit. It's a good opportunity for you as a client to look at this and learn about this. This is the point of being coached, is gives you autonomy, so you don't need to be coached to a certain point. You understand the fundamentals, and fat loss is a kind of game of numbers. It's more complicated because obviously a calorie deficit is what's needed to lose weight. There is, if you didn't know, 3,500 calories roughly in a pound of fat. But that equation is kind of challenging because it's dynamic. The metabolism isn't as straightforward as just pure numbers. There is a metabolic component, adaptations, but this helps people understand what fat loss can look like, and also sustainable fat loss, unsustainable fat loss, why people may be struggling with fat loss when they're going too aggressive. And I'm going to lay out a few kind of examples of that. Now, if we look at the kind of main page, so we've got two sheets down here, deficit calculation and the fat loss predictor. That's the meat and tatties of it, but we have to set a few things up here first. So anything in yellow is editable, okay? There's a few things that you can edit in there. I need to change that to purple, but that'll be done. Okay, so we have my weight is 84 kilos, my hypothetical weight. I'm actually 82 and a half, but we'll have it at 84. Unfortunately, I am 35. That isn't hypothetical. I am a weight of 175. I'm a male. I can change that to male or female. I have a physical activity levels of 1.7. So when it comes to determining your physical activity level score, this is the chart that we're going to use. People may go beyond 2.0, like if they're really, really active. You can't go below 1, all right? 1 is BMR, all right? So some people may be in a coma. That's BMR, coma calories, all right? No physical activity. Someone with a 1.1 basically will roll out of bed, get in the car, drive to work, sit all day, get back in the car, go home, sit, go to bed, rinse and repeat. Very sedentary. If somebody's got a goal of fat loss, in the kind of between 2 or 3, I generally recommend they go to the lower one, because that's going to kind of, not guarantee, but it's going to be more likely to put them in a deficit. And if they find they're struggling with hunger, energy levels, cravings, then they maybe just have undershot it. If they're losing weight too fast, there is such a thing, because you may tap into muscle mass and all of that. Just put it in at 1.7, eat a little bit more, slow it down. Remember, we need to regulate calories. We don't necessarily need to count them. So this is just giving you an awareness tool. If people are tracking, fair enough. If people aren't, it's just like a kind of good, that's how it works. This is why I'm struggling to adhere to this crazy diet I'm trying to sustain, when it's just too low calories, too restrictive and all of that. And you're going to see how great this sheet is for mapping out things like the deficit, but also periods of maintenance and how it doesn't really affect fat loss. Now, this is focusing on fat loss, not weight loss, because weight is numerous factors, not just fat. So it's going to be water, muscle, food in your stomach, stored glycogen, water retention, muscle soreness. Complicated, I know. If it wasn't, then I'd probably be not doing this and have a normal job. So, right, on point. I'm 84 kilos, so I can change these. If I was 85, bang. Let's say I'm 85. 85, I'm 175 centimeters, 35, male, 1.7. BMR is 1900 calories, them coma calories. With the activity factor, roughly 3,100 calories, 3,200 calories. That's how much it's going to take to maintain my current body fat levels. Good job I'm active, isn't it? Because it makes a deficit a lot easier. Now, let's say I wanted to get to 80 kilos in 80 weeks. That wouldn't be challenging, but it would be, 80 weeks. That's like 2 years for like 5 kilos. God, that's slow. But like, let's say 80 kilos in 8 weeks. Now what it's going to do is tell us, right, that's 38, nearly 39,000 calories worth of energy you need to burn. 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. It also converts it down here to my current weight is 187 pounds. I want to get to 176. The difference is 11 pounds. 11 times 3,500 is this, nearly 38,500 calories. In 8 weeks, that's 56 days. That's a weekly deficit of 4,800 calories and a daily one of 688. So already, is that sustainable? Is it doable? Yeah, yes. For me personally, the experience I have, it's probably a little bit quick, but if I had like some sort of kind of real impetus to do it, then I would. And what it's going to tell me here is, right, this is 31, nearly 3,200 calories. That's my maintenance. 2,500 calories, just shy of that, is my deficit goal. And that's a 21.7% deficit. All right. Now, a few examples. If I was to go, no, I want it quicker. I want it in 6 weeks. I put a 6 in there. All right. All of this changes. It's the same amount of energy deficit. However, let's look at the weekly deficit, the daily deficit, and the percentage deficit, and how low my calories have to be. Now, I've dieted numerous times. This is hard work, and this is of fat. So if I lower my calories this much, I might actually like go beyond like 80 kilos. But like, we're talking about fat. Like, if I don't eat a lot, within a week I could probably lose a good few pounds, like, you know, a couple of kilos just through eating so much less. You know, I was eating 3,200 to maintain this weight. Now I'm eating 2,200. I've got less food in my system. I've got less carbohydrates, because carbohydrates have energy in, and I have just limit glycogen stores, limit water. I'm hungry, I'm empty, so like weight's gonna drop off, but that doesn't necessarily mean fat's dropping off. You've got to sustain the deficit. Let's say, you know, crazy stuff out there. 4 weeks, holy shit, 1,800 calories. Same amount of energy needs to come out, but we're getting to stupid levels. And believe me, this is what the fitness industry does. They get drastic results. You barely eat anything, you do a lot of physical activity. So let's hypothetically say I was a 1.1 physical activity factor, and all of a sudden my coach asked me to do 1.7 but drop my calories. You're getting a double whammy. You know, hunger's gonna creep up, diet fatigue will creep up. Yeah, you might make it where you get a badge, but also you get probably an eating disorder. You get body dysmorphia. You come out the other side binging because you're so hungry, but your 4-week transformation's done. Right, so I want to do this over 10 weeks because I get to eat more. I get 2,600 calories. I can be a bit more flexible with my diet. The sustainment there. I'm going to give you another quick example. So let's say if I was a 60 kilo female, not very tall, if I was, 25, I'm a woman, so my BMI is lower, but I had a physical activity level of a 1.3. I wanted to get to, 55 kilos in 8 weeks. All right, so I'll make that like a 57, 6 pounds. What we're going to see is, right, 1,800 calories is roughly maintenance, 23,000 calories is required. A daily deficit, it's not too bad, 1,800 to 1,400, but obviously if you're super sedentary, we've just got over 1,000 calories, so it gets a little bit more challenging. And this is why weight loss from females tends to be a bit slower. They have less calories to play with. So quite often, if they are really inactive, trying to get their kind of physical activity levels, whether that's done through formal cardio, which I don't recommend. I typically recommend something light, energy burning, but not taxing, like walking or like low intense cycling, preferably something that's incorporated into the life, not on top of the life. But we can see why maybe women struggle is because they do excessive cardio, they get water retention, they're going super low calories, the weight's not moving, so they try and do more, which exacerbates things, and then they end up falling off. The fat loss was occurring, but the weight loss wasn't being kind of transferred onto the scale, so they get frustrated. But going back to me, can I command Z? I can. I'm commanding Z this to change everything back. Alright, so now we're going to go to the meat and tatties, and I know I explained that a little bit, maybe too much, but the fat loss predictor. Right, so we've got all my starting stats up here. 85 kilos, 175, blah blah blah. Okay, weekly deficit needed, okay, and daily average needed. So this again, only in yellow I can change. So what I can start doing now is mapping out my fat loss. So let's say if I wanted to just put 2600 calories in across the board, so I can just fill all them in saying 2600 calories. So that says I'm in a daily deficit of an average of 571 calories and an 18% deficit. So if we remember, if we go back here, that's what kind of I wanted, about 17. Doesn't have to be perfect, but what you're going to see is this will go down. All right, and what you can do is staggered approaches is how I typically do my dieting. You don't always eat the same amount on the same days. You're not also as physically active every day, but what we're trying to do is a minimum keep our physical activity levels similar. So there is an adaptive component. So as you see, when I lose weight, I start at 85, I've got 1868 calories per day BMR. As I lose weight, it's going down. So a smaller person requires less calories, so BMR naturally goes down. So when people's weight loss slows down, it's because they require less calories. The deficit is still there, it's just smaller. Therefore, you're going to see things at a slower rate. So if I say I got a 26, 26, 24, I may have like a 32, okay, and then I may have another 32 there. Okay, so you can see I've put myself in a bit there. I might have another 2200 off the back of a couple of high days, you know, and you can play around with these and you can be like, right, I'm going to have another 24 there. So like, yeah, you can play around, but you can see these are bigger deficits here, but hey, I'm in a slight surplus. It shows that I'm in a surplus here with these changes in colors. Green is deficit, blue is surplus. I'm in a 16.2% deficit roughly, daily deficit that, and you know, you can put notes in there if you're working alongside with myself. I can see this, I can look at your weekly notes, but they can be for you. Maybe you want a maintenance week, maybe it's, you know, Easter holiday or something like that. You know, I'm saying that because of this recording, it's just occurred. So maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're mapping it out in advance and you're going, right, I'm going to eat at maintenance on these 3 days. So we put that in first, and then we're going to map out the other part of the week. So it's like, right, I don't mind going a little bit hungry because I know these 3 days are coming. Okay, so we've still got that deficit. We're still like nearly 17%, but the calories are lower here, the calories are higher here. Maybe you go a little bit more crazy. That's not crazy, 400. You go 4,000. We can see the deficit is being a little bit higher. It's almost totally eradicated, but maybe in advance you said, you know what, I'm going to have a maintenance week, I'm going on holiday, I'm going to allocate more food to these days. It's mindful, it's a choice, it's not like a binge or anything. You haven't failed, you've been in control of the deficit, or how you're regulating your calories, and you're still in a deficit. It's just not a very big one. You're probably not going to see any weight loss. You'll probably see weight gain because obviously of the stored stuff in your body, but you're still in a deficit. And obviously you do this all the way through, and you know, we said we wanted to take 10 weeks, and that's how long it might take, but you might have a week or two at maintenance, so the total plan might take 12 weeks, 14 weeks. It's up to you. There's no rush. There might be times where you're just kind of in the trenches, you're busy, you're not hungry, you're like, I might just put my foot down a little bit. So you might go like have a week where you just are winging it and you have 2200 calories all week, but then you go, you know what, I fancy a bit more food just to offset that hunger feeling, and then bang, a day of 4000 calories. You're in quite a big surplus there, but hey, get rid of that. You're in a large deficit the rest of the week. And then, you know, we just rinse and repeat. Anyway, I think I've went on about that. As you scroll down, you'll see that these stick up there as just a bit of a reminder. If you do have any questions, as I said, feel free to play around with it. You can only edit things that's in yellow, so you can't edit anything else, because it'll just say you can't. And then if you're happy like with that, then just great. As I said, any questions, give us a shout, and I will catch you next time.